Welcome in, everybody, to the Amazing Blue Reviews. Good afternoon, Michigan football on this Wednesday, September the 3rd. That's right, we're ready to get things underway. Thanks for joining us here, and we're set to dive into Michigan football. We've had a game to look back on, and we've got a great one to look ahead to. What more could you ask for? That's the question for you out there. I don't know. What more could you ask for? You've got a very memorable opener we will look back on. I'll give you my thoughts. You remember last week on Friday, I had a couple things that I was looking for in the opener, and I'll look back to see what I thought about what I was looking at, if that makes any sense to you. Also, we've got more. Oh, from the Connor Stallions vault. The story continues for those of you that are interested in that, and you are. And there's a new spin on it with that whole deal. So I'll give you my thoughts on that situation. Something to, I don't know, bide the time until kickoff, I guess. It's like everything if you're a Michigan football fan, everything's just biding the time till kickoff. The whole world, everything just revolves around what you're going to do until Michigan gets out there on the field. This is another thing that just takes up some of your time. But we will start with the game coming up this Saturday. And, one thing that is that I heard Sharon Moore say it this week. You have a great intersectional matchup like this, and you hear people say, and this is why you go to Michigan. This is why you go to Oklahoma, play in games like this. This is why you're a Michigan football fan. You get to see great matchups like this, and this is for everything that you go through and all off season, everything else. We talk a lot about scheduling. Last year, I was looking forward to that Texas game so much, and Michigan fell flat on their face. They've got this game now on the road where, if they end up winning this game, they, I would say, crash the party. I think they'll crash the top 10. They will go from, what do you say, a dark horse playoff team, a team also, considered to one that, their odds of making the playoffs shoot up astronomically. They shoot up big time. And, suddenly you're sitting here thinking, and you may have thought this, all along, Michigan's going undefeated, Michigan's going to whatever. I mean, there's always people that say that, but everybody else is going to be saying it along with you now. So that's there's a lot of exciting parts. That's it. You got another late kickoff, 7:44 exactly is what they're talking about on ABC. And you get a nice broadcast team of Fowler and Herbstreit, the top broadcast team, with Rowe on the sideline. The Sooners are a 4.5 point favorite in this game. William says I sound a little low. I got to tell you, William, I'm a little bit under the weather. I think this is the sickest I've been in the last 48 hours for, I don't know, 10 years. So I'll try to crank that up, crank that energy up too. Maybe I'll just turn myself up a little bit as well. Maybe you need to turn your speaker up a little bit too, but I appreciate it when you give me the feedback, especially on anything, but how I'm sounding. If I was sitting here and there was no sound, then that would really be something. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. And when you look at the all off season, you say, well, I think they're going to go 11-1, 10-2, 9-3, whatever else, and then you pick the losses. I think that this game against Oklahoma was the most picked loss by all Michigan fans who were guessing at what the record was going to be. at Oklahoma with a freshman quarterback, probably a loss. Now, after watching the opener, I like Michigan's chances more than I did all off season taking a look at this trip in week 2. And most of that, all of it, has to do with Bryce Underwood. I still think, if Arch Manning was playing Louisiana Monroe in week 1 and he goes out there and runs for 3 and throws for 3 and everybody's talking about, oh yeah, he'll be the Cowboys' first pick or the Saints. I don't know what the Cowboys would do with Dak Prescott. But no, he had to go on the road and he had to play at Ohio State, which is, a tough, obviously a tough situation. Now, does that explain, his mechanics and those kind? No, it doesn't. But that does factor in, and that's why this week with Underwood, if he can go out there and play anything like he played in week 1, Michigan already knows that they have something, but it will be quite the revelation for the country, where sure a star was born in week 1, but being able to do it on week 2, you're always proving yourself. But man, this would be quite the game. I'm there with Matt. Can't wait till Saturday. It's going to be awesome. It is going to be awesome. That's the thing. And Matthew's coming up with a pick. He's got Michigan by 10 already, thinking about it. And there you go. Let's see. John says Michigan went into OSU Stadium last year and beat them with no quarterback play at all. How would anybody think Michigan can't beat Oklahoma? Think about it. You do that. We've talked about this in the offseason. What if Michigan had, average quarterback play or a little bit better than quarterback? Let's say Michigan had, Bryce Underwood last year. What would it be like? And people automatically say, oh, well, they would have won, 10 games. Are you kidding me? Maybe they would have lost to Texas and, maybe they would have lost to Oklahoma. But everything is completely different. Michigan might not have beat Ohio State if they had Bryce Underwood last year. And, you say, think about it. And it's just a weird thing. I get it's fun to say. I think that they would have I think that they could have beaten Indiana or Illinois. I'd have given them one more if they had average quarterback play. But there's so many factors that go in there. Like I said, would they have beat USC? You automatically, Michigan won by 3 points against USC. Would they have been running the ball like they did to get the huge run from Khalil Mullings for 63 yards, in their 2-minute offense? Probably not. But, it's a fun thing to say. I don't – I think it's one of those things that everyone says that I don't agree with. That, you just can't do that. You're not looking at everything. Oh, Michigan would have had a quarterback last year. They'd have won. They'd have been in the playoffs. You can't say that they would have won all those games. And then, all the close ones, they would have won those 2 because, it's just different. But I guess that's neither here or there. It's fun for people to talk about. But I do get this. I do think, having the experience and then confidence of going down to Ohio State for all the players that were involved in the game, that does give you something on your side. I don't think they're going to think that the moment is too big. That is going to give them some confidence. I do believe that is a factor when it comes down to it. So I'm with you on that. Now, I just want to go back to the opener because if you remember on Friday, I said, I'm looking for 3 things. And the one thing that I was looking for from Bryce Underwood was that I wanted to see him getting the plays in, not looking panicked as a freshman. And I also wanted to see the center exchanges. I mean, very simple things. You'd say, wow, boy, you weren't expecting a whole lot from him. I'm expecting what I have seen in my life from freshman quarterbacks in situations. There's a lot of things that go on, delay of games, and you have to burn timeouts. And there was none of that. He passed that with flying colors. And then Michigan, they're not treating him like he's some true freshman who's wet behind the ears. They're throwing him right in there. They have taken the reins off him, and they're letting him just go out there and let it fly, let him cook. And that was incredible to watch. The combination of his arm, his talent, and his athleticism, those three things all into one out there on the football field, is like, he was born to do this. This was something where he is in 2025, all of the quarterbacks that you have seen in the history of, this is what they're able to do and all that. It's like they've put all of those attributes and he's doing it. That's how good to me that he looked. That's how impressive it was. Now let's see that's, you could say, well, that's a hell of a lot for a quarterback just making his debut and acting like he's the greatest thing. Well, it was just one game. So yeah, I'll admit that. Okay. But we get more games now, but that is how he looked. And that's not being a prisoner in the moment. He was that awesome. So that's why I feel better about Michigan's chances this week. Number two, I said, I wanted a reminder why I like Samaj Morgan so much. I talked about all off season, people say, I don't like this and Morgan's no good. All of these things, I would hear from the people. I said, I just want a reminder. And then Michigan's first pass play, Samaj Morgan, for 11 yards. Michigan's first series, they're going to Samaj Morgan again for 7 yards. And I'm thinking, they're listening to me. They're getting Morgan involved. And then when TJ Guy had the one-armed interception, then they went to an end around, Samaj Morgan. I'm like, all right, this is the reminder of why I like this guy so much. Then they kicked the punt to him, and he turned the wrong way, and he turned this way, and he fumbled it. And I still don't know, because the ball looked like it went bounding this way. And then all of a sudden, it looked like it reversed its course and went right into him. It was amazing for him to be able to get the ball back. But yeah, that put a little damper on things, and then we didn't see much from him. Ended up with 4 catches for 33 yards and 2 for 14 on some runs. So 47 total yards. Okay. But like I said, I think that the fumble put a damper on things from him, even though he was able to get it back. And then the third thing, I just wanted to see the defense as a group and how they were going to play. Now, they played so many guys that was a product of playing a lesser than opponent. That was a strategy. I do not expect them to be rotating as many players in as they did last week. So it's going to be the test for everyone. It wasn't a great performance by the defense. They would have liked to have played better. But the whole thing is that Underwood was so far advanced, and they were leaning in to the things that he does more than I expected, more than you probably expected. That is very encouraging for this team. The other thing is that Justice Haynes, I recall myself saying last week that I would have started, for me, Jordan Marshall. They were saying, oh, well, Marshall's 1 and Haynes is 1A or vice versa. So they're pretty much even. But I'll give it to, I don't know where the people here were hearing it, who was saying it. I don't know. But there was some thought that, no, Haynes is the guy. Well, Haynes was the guy. He put together the best debut by a Michigan running back in 55 years. And you see a guy with runs of, plus 52. That reminded me of Corum and Edwards, who in the national championship season, Michigan led the country in those 50-yard plus plays, and Haynes with 2 of them. His longest run, he got caught at the 1, and then he had 3 touchdowns. That was a hell of a debut. I know some people like the running game wasn't what running game was. That was very encouraging if you're a Michigan fan. So Underwood and Haynes, and then Klein. We needed to see it. Everybody was saying, just wait. You'll see from Klein. I saw it. I like him. Big target, athletic, all of that. And could a tight end lead Michigan in targets, in catches, in touchdowns? And the answer, again, this year, because Loveland was that guy last year, yes, this year that could be the case. And then the last thing from the opener that was put in there specifically for this game, maybe for more, but Michigan came out and dictated the tempo. They went fast. They did a hurry up. Now, I've been looking at what the great Brent Venables, who's the most decorated defensive coordinator. He's the head coach now, but he's got all those natties as a defensive coordinator, and what he's known for is his late adjustments. His defense will be looking over, they'll look at the offense up in the booth, and they'll tell him at the last second. And so this cat and mouse game, I think that's what was going on here, that Michigan showed this tempo. You can't be Brent Venables and getting these calls from up in the booth at these last second to be making these shifts and adjustments if the team is going tempo out there. So I'm expecting to see some more of that. I'll be interested to see if that's how it plays out, if that's how they're trying to do it. But I thought that was going on with the start of the game. And throughout football, every time I see a team go and use tempo and go hurry up, it seems to have a positive effect on the offense. And the players surrounding the offense always seem to like it, and the coaches too. We're dictating the tempo. So you wonder why teams don't even do it more. And you can't control the clock. You're putting your defense out there. If you go fast and you go 3 and out, I guess those would be the sides that you can get yourself in trouble. But if you can have some success with some hurry up where you could possess the ball still a little bit more, then there doesn't really seem to be any drawback. So be interested to see if they go back and do that more. So that's where I'm at. Let's go back and see what the people are all thinking here. John, give me a shout out for working and being sick. There's John. That's where we left off. John talking about if Michigan can go to OSU and win, why can't they go to Oklahoma? And I get that. Rico, he was not allowing himself to fall into the Bryce hype, but after watching the ball come out of his hand, I can't doubt him. Yeah, that's something that was with all of us. I had made the decision that I wasn't going to tell anybody, like, let's wait and let's not put too much on him, because that wasn't realistic. When you see what he was rated, when you know where he is from, when you know how last year went at the quarterback position, everybody was expecting him to be the greatest of all time. But I wasn't expecting him to be that right off the bat. And he was. And, you're talking about seeing the ball come out of his hand. I got to say that he threw the first pass over to McCulley where he just pumped it over to the sideline. And man, that looks different. Then I saw him throw on to Klein. And then I saw him hammer that 3rd and 14 to Shannon Goodwin. And then I was this guy not only is different, I mean, this is a superpower. All players, the great players said this is why they're great. This is what they can do. Underwood dropping back and being able to laser that ball 20, 30 yards down the field in the seam and put it on the receiver. That's just that's a superpower of his. But it wasn't just this cannon where he was aiming and just boom. He was also able to, on the touchdown pass, decline, use a different level and use a different speed, throw with some touch. And then when they were down there on the 6-yard line, and Chip Lindsey had him, throwing the ball, which may have been a little bit of a surprise. Let's not put him in a spot. Let's let him, cook. And then he was, just throwing that little finesse pass out there to Klein, who caught it. I don't know, he caught the back half of the football. And then it's just like, this is high-level stuff. Yeah, it's against New Mexico, but now I want to see it. This is exciting against anybody. And then all of the throws were fabulous and everything else. And then, but my favorite one was to Kendrick Bell. Kendrick Bell, Underwood got the ball, and he was sitting in the pocket, and the processing was so fast for him that he immediately knew he wasn't going to be standing in the pocket. He was going to be on the move. He kept his head up. He ran a little bit to the right, and then he did a little power move on the run to get away from the pass rush that was coming at him as he moved up, and then he fired the ball to Kendrick Bell. And that was just that's great stuff. Now, there were a couple passes that one was behind. I think he was throwing split leg, sidearm, which it's just new level. It's new stuff that I really haven't seen. And, that's where we're at with him. And there was a time Charles Woodson, had 2 interceptions against Ohio State when he was a true freshman. He's a DB. It's different, that kind of thing. But I do remember, I don't remember when it was, but I was at all those games for Woodson. And I used to sit up there and say, I hope the teams throw at him. I want to see him challenge him because I want to see. I knew he was a great player. Everybody knew he was a great player. You just wanted to see it. Go ahead, throw at him. And I'm already there with Underwood. I want to see him on the road against Oklahoma. I want to see him everywhere. And he looks like he's up to the challenge for anything. Yeah, it was just one game, but he took the whole tool set out and he sprayed it all over there. So ceiling super high, totally encouraged. Like Michigan's chances better than I did at this time last week to win in Oklahoma. So it's all great. So I am with you there, Rico, what you are talking about. Yeah, Michigan has a real passing game and a game plan. What Michigan has is a special quarterback. Moose, a lot of toxic Oklahoma fans predicting a Sooner blowout. Added motivation for Bryce and the boys. Well, like Moose, you are involved in the toxicity of Twitter and rivalry back and forth. So there's nobody that knows better about if there's some bile being spit from the opponents. But I would just expect that. It's college football. A lot of fan bases, Moose, if they're not busting your balls or they're not telling you that you're the worst ever and you're some prick then they don't think that they have to kind of stick their chest out and act like it. What I'm saying is that toxic equals fandom. So I don't think there's any motivation for Bryce and the boys because there's a couple fans on Twitter that are acting a fool. I think it goes part and parcel with college football. Football fans, you don't have to act a fool. That's part of the fun. There's a lot of people that's part of the favorite part of Michigan football is being able to go online and tell another fan base, somebody else that they've never met, to go to hell. So that's just it comes with the territory. Rico would feel a lot better if we picked up an A-tier wide receiver out of the portal. Well, I think they're going to get better wide receivers coming up. You're talking about this season. I hear you on that. There were a few drops, and that's like I think everyone else. Some of these top-ranked wide receivers, people were saying Michigan's going to run the ball, and they're not really going to throw it with even with a high 5-star, greatest quarterback ever. They're like, we're going to have to see it before we believe it. And now, they have seen it. So you can't transfer in the middle of the year, or there probably would be. So that's it. Detroit is been waiting for the pass to open up the running game for years. John says Ron Bellamy wants the receivers to catch more. We have a great quarterback and an experienced OC, so there's no excuses left for Bellamy. Yeah, John, you might be, and your followers might be of the opinion that, Ron Bellamy's a lesser than coach, or Ron Bellamy really hasn't done the job. I'm of the exact opposite. I think Ron Bellamy's an excellent coach. I think Ron, and I don't say this about everybody. If you know me, I'm not always just, pumping up everybody's tires and patting them on the head. Michigan had a way that they were playing football. And so if you think that Ron Bellamy was going to be the greatest wide receivers coach of all time, who wasn't able to really get wide receivers in because Michigan was running the ball, and I think that this is nothing against you directly, John, but every team, we all can't just sit here and just tell everybody how, some people do, but I don't know how much fun that is. You're always on someone. One of the coaching staff is not pulling their weight. So you have to look at them and say, this guy needs to get it done. And, you point the finger at him. Bellamy is the one. He's been that for a couple of years. And then people all kind of jump on that narrative. So I have been against that one. So I don't really see that part of what you're saying. I see it mostly. It's like that with every team. Every team that I've ever followed, every team that I've ever covered, fans always are jumping on one particular coach or one particular player and making them the scapegoat or are down on them more than they should be. Now, sometimes it's accurate, but I don't think it's accurate with Ron Bellamy. So I think you're off on that. Moose, 10 of those 17 points were off a Marsh fumble and a catch that wasn't a catch. I don't really have any argument with what you're saying there. If I'm Oklahoma, I'm forcing our kick returner to catch everything in the field of play. Yeah, well, you got a true freshman kick returner, so maybe that's it. Maybe it was a good thing that he did fumble. So if he does it again, that's going to be it, for him, I would say, on the kick return. So that's it. Could have easily been 40-7. I could play that game. Oh, there you go. There's Rico's with the John evaluation year I already addressed that. Yeah, here it is. John's running the let's get Bellamy out of town um, narrative. So people want to know, after seeing Michigan play this past weekend, do you still think that Oklahoma will beat Michigan? Yeah, that's the funny thing is that sometimes you wish you would never make predictions, or if you're running a Michigan podcast, why don't you just say go blue all the time and just pick Michigan to win every game? And that's what a lot of people that cover Michigan do. Uh, I think that Michigan has a better chance to win this game than I thought, but I'm still thinking that Oklahoma is likely going to win this game. And it was like Arch Manning. You can't. What all of us do, especially, let's say, it's really happened in the last 10 years, but it's probably been over 20 years. People look at one game and have their minds made up. Arch Manning sucks. Bryce Underwood's the greatest. Like I said, if Arch would have played Louisiana Tech and had this great game and was playing Ohio State, said, man, Arch is. And you have to, going on the road's a different set of circumstances. I'm excited to see it. I think Michigan can win this game, but no, I'm gonna say that I would expect them to lose a close game. I would take the 4.5 points if I was going to bet on it, though, and I would take Michigan. So that's how I feel about that one. John feels good about Goodwin and McCulley, and he loves Marsh, and he knows him personally. He has to have better awareness. He turns around, and that's a TD. Well, in your evaluation process, John, did Bellamy, was he able to get Goodwin, McCulley, and Marsh, or does he get no credit for that? Or is it all because of Underwood and, Bellamy has done nothing and he gets criticized if, you're not getting great play from the wide receivers, or you're not recruiting and getting the 5-star recruit. But now that you've got Underwood, Underwood gets all of the credit. I'll just say it again. The championship season, Michigan had Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson and Colston Loveland. These guys were all, had fabulous years as pass catchers. You guys jumping on Bellamy, you just, I'll just let you guys sit around and do it, but get it out of here. How about that? No, maybe not. I want you to be honest with your opinions and everything. So that's it. Oklahoma and Michigan beat Alabama this year. Who hasn't? Now that it comes to Alabama, right? Kendrick Bell has the possibility of breaking out. I don't know, with the shoddy coaching, though. I'm not really sure that he's going to be able to do it when it comes down to that. If we see 4 to 5 commercials of Bryce during the game, be afraid. Look what it did to Archie. That's it. Moose has the game plan. Whoa. Moose has the game plan for beating OU. Run the ball. They gave up a bad Missouri State team. Is that who they played, or was it Illinois State? I don't know. I'd have to look. Well, if whoever they played in week 1 was able to run the ball on them, that won't be lost on Michigan. I do think that Michigan will be. They're not abandoning the run. I don't think their idea is let's come out and have Underwood throw the ball 40 times, even 30 times. I'm not sure they're thinking that. Trick plays. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a trick play. Sharon likes trick plays. Sharon had mentioned that New Mexico likes to run trick plays last week, and then he said they like to run more trick plays than even we do. So, yeah. Here it is, True Blue Tom. Couple more here. Moose is putting Brian Jean-Marie on the hot seat. It's an interesting take. Michigan has their best linebacking core in how long? Is that why? Because they've got so much talent that if they don't seek and destroy, then what's going on? Is it because of recruiting? Because they got what they get last year, NOB and Chase Taylor is Sullivan. What's that? Jean-Marie been around for him? I don't know. I don't know. Who else what coach am I putting on the hot seat? Do we have to put one on the hot seat? Yeah, I don't know. Special teams doesn't do great. You could look there. Let's see. Johnson, if even one receiver can outdo our tight end of the box score, well, okay, you might be able to get that. Is that that's your standard? All right. I appreciate your opinion. It's one of those things. Let's see, William. If Bryce runs the ball, it will change the outcome of this game drastically. Yeah, he's not running the ball 5 to 10 times on design runs. I don't think Michigan called, even with JJ, more than 2 or 3 design. That's different, than you're scrambling and you go. But I think they might call a design run or 2, and then he might take off for 1 or 2. So that's it. Let's see. There you go. Special teams. So far we've got Bellamy. After I guess it's heading into the season and looking at one game. You got Ron Bellamy, Brian Jean-Marie, and JB Brown on the hot seat from the fans here. That's it. Let's do it. Wait till after this game. What's going on? That's it. Sure, 97 from the tight end and more from one receiver bodes well. There it is. That's it. Let me get to the story that all Michigan fans like, and that is a continuation of the Connor Stallions story. So you got a CBS Detroit story that came out where one of what they called Student One hacked Stallions' computer, and so this just got everybody worked up again. It almost feels to me like these are the kind of things you're just putting out there and it doesn't feel like it. I think that Michigan's trying to reduce that fine, anything they can. I don't think much is going to come of this story looking through it. I think there are, people that I don't know. I was just going to say just lawyers, but I think there's a lot of people that maybe they just like to get their hands in it too and think they're lawyers. And maybe I'm one of those guys. My thoughts on this latest piece is that, and people know where I stand on Stallions. I'm not a big fan. I don't think he has any credibility. I think people that like him, they're just having fun. And this is just all rivalry stuff. I've said that a lot. I think he might be able to get, somebody in trouble. Stallions, if they're able to find out actually who was hacking his computer. But that doesn't matter to the NCAA. Now, what I have found what is interesting, and it is the piece of the rivalry part, is that now Michigan So this would be like Moose, who loves the back and forth with Ohio State fans or any other fans that he can get, that he can engage with. Michigan fans are now able to say that they want the hammer to drop on Ohio State. That Ohio State, oh, maybe they have used an ineligible player. And so that would get their national championship vacated. Now, isn't that that is some of the most fun rivalry stuff that you could possibly have. Now, if you want to focus on the nuts and who cares about all the nuts and bolts? Throw it out there. Vacating OSU's natty from last year, after that's all they did for a year and a half, was post about that, and now Michigan can, whether it's going to be right or wrong on either side, now Michigan can go back and they can tweet away at Ohio State fans. It's advantage Michigan there. That's how I see it. And I gotta, at Moose, you have to be rankling people's feathers. I would imagine that Moose, you have already put no less than double-digit tweets out there at Ohio State fans about how they're going to have to vacate their national championship. I am pretty sure that is happening. Mark says, I'd rather have the team Michigan beat get the natty than have it defaulted to Notre Dame. There we go. Let's take a couple more here. We're going to have to see you go out and let Bryce hit you for 7. You're one of those guys. Not really sure what kind of guy I am. Thanks. I appreciate it. I'm all right with that. All right. That's it. All right. Thanks so much. That's going to do it for today's show. I think I'm just going to go take a nap. And I was going to say, it'd be great if I could wake up just on Saturday and be ready to go. But no, that'd be a long time to be resting. I'm just going to take it easy. Thanks so much for watching this. 2 things. You like Michigan football talk all the time. We have it. Now, I don't know, maybe in the morning you get your cup of coffee, you like to go to your computer and you read different newspapers, you go to different websites, however you're doing it. On3 Maize and Blue Review is a great way to get all of that Michigan news into one spot. And then wherever you're at with your phone, you can take it and you get the app, the On3 app. And then you're always able to just punch that bad boy up. And then the next thing you know, you're in there and you've got it all and it's ready to go. It's a great thing, to have with you. I was going to say for whatever reason, but that's it. All of that Michigan news, recruiting, posting boards, all in one spot. So go to on3.com and then just tap the Maize and Blue Review and get on in. I guarantee that you'll love it. And so for that, we'll see you over there. That's it. Thanks so much. And we will talk with you on Friday.